Good morning to all of you out there. I'm Cito Beltran, welcoming you to the program Agenda here on Signal TV, channels 8 or 250 for those of you who have high-definition televisions or monitors. And for those of you who have not yet subscribed to Signal TV, you are apparently watching us via facebook.com/onenewsph. Mag-subscribe na po sa Signal TV. They have many kinds of packages. There is the minimal package and there is the multi-program package. So I'm sure you'll enjoy Signal TV. And may I remind our friends out there, especially those of you who are now habitually, regularly, or must go digital and online, please get the PLDT Home Fiber internet. Hindi po ako endorser, hindi po tayo binabayaran ng PLDT, but I am just advising, suggesting, recommending that you do so because it makes a ton of difference when you have sustained internet delivery, internet speed. And katulad po niyan, we are here in the city of Lipa, Batangas, and we can actually, if Taal volcano decides to make its presence felt again with the smokestack, we will see it. That's how close we are to that volcano. But in any case, we are here in Lipa City, reaching all of you all over the country. And of course, those of you who are abroad, maraming salamat po. Thank you very much. I just want to express our gratitude to those of you who continue to watch Agenda. Whether you agree with me or you disagree with me, I love you. I pray that the Lord will bless you. Kahit na paminsan-minsan yung iba sa inyo, pinipitik ako, inaasar ako. Ox lang yon. Kasi friends, when with friends, you can be honest. Just try to be polite about it. In any case, today, I just want to start the day by reminding all our viewers that please first observe health protocols. The more things change, the more they remain. They seem the same. Kasi, di ba, 2 weeks ago, we were already talking about going to MGCQ nationwide. And sabi ko nga, what's the difference? We are already going nationwide. So many of my friends have been traveling, going around as if there was really no quarantine restrictions. But anyway, we were all talking about MGCQ, but now although there is a, how do I call it, spirit of denial. Parang, di naman, not to be malicious and I don't criticize the government, but parang everyone is resisting the idea of ever going back to ECQ, GCQ, and yet, I heard on the radio this morning, Caloocan City daw, mukhang baka ibabalik na o binabalik na yung quarantine pass requirement. And then the Metro Manila mayors are reportedly talking about having a uniformed curfew from 10 to 5 because when things improved, the curfew hours were also reduced in different places of Metro Manila and the provinces. And ang nangyari, naging kanya-kanya. It's a KK, okay, KKC, kanya-kanyang curfew schedule. But now the IATF or the MMDA is talking about let's have uniform curfew, at least as an initial or as an added measure of control for the spread of COVID, because what we have is UK variant and the South African variant, and a lot of people relaxing their guard regarding wearing face mask, etc. So next, I just want to remind all of you, if you would, please read Psalm 103, Psalm 103. It is about remembering the gifts of God, remembering the gifts and talents God has given you, excelling in them, rejoicing for them, and above all, thanking God for all of them. Okay, and for today, we will interview Mr. Rosendo So, Kasi ah, medyo ang balita namin, i-extend daw by another month yung price cap on the price of pork and chicken. And medyo hindi nga maintindihan ng iba. Some people can't figure it out because the report goes that the price cap resulted in higher prices in other places and caused the triggered inflation, etc., etc. So we'll talk to Rosendo So about that. He is with the Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura or SINAG. And we will also speak with Dr. Beaver Tamesis, a regular also on agenda. He is the president of the Pharmaceutical Healthcare Association of the Philippines. Alam niyo, lagi pong pinalalabas na bad boy itong mga pharmaceutical companies. In fact, lately they have been blamed, or some people are trying to throw the blame at them, to deflect criticism towards them regarding the delivery of vaccines in the Philippines. Parang meron pa nga mga medyo hindi maganda ugali dyan na sinasabi. Though, they are saying, oh, it's the pharma that's controlling the flow of vaccines. That's why we're not getting enough of it. Sorry, the pharmaceuticals are not that powerful. But we'll ask Beaver Tamesis to explain all of that. Okay, so the time is 8:06, and I now bring you to the front page of the Philippine Star. More policemen will be deployed in Metro Manila, specifically the cities of Pasay and Navotas, where spikes of COVID-19 cases have been recorded. Some cities like San Juan and Mandaluyong have also re-implemented curfew hours. Okay, yan po yung sinasabi natin kanina. Things have been changing but now remaining the same. Meanwhile, the Transportation Department has ordered the strict implementation of health protocols in public transport. Parang, bakit? Napabayaan ba? Medyo nagluwag ba? In other news, the Eastern Visayas Police has formed a task group that will investigate the clash between security escorts and anti-drug police officers, which left Calbayog City Mayor Ronaldo Aquino and 5 others dead. This is rather... I can't call it more anything than tragic. It is tragic because this is the second incident involving anti-drug law enforcers in ano na naman to, misencounter na naman to, o ganti-gantihan or unahan, okay? And we have a problem, gentlemen. I think you guys in the PNP better get your act together, and I hope Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa will take the appropriate action to have this investigated, because you're familiar. Kasi hindi na po tama pag kayo na nagpapatayan, the president is saying, shoot to kill with the NPAs or any rebels who attack us. Hindi kailangan ng NPA sumali. Manood na lang sila, magpatayan kayo. In any case, the Senate Committee on Agriculture is calling on Malacanang to declare a state of emergency due to the African swine fever. Huli na, huli pa rin. Okay? Pag-usapan po natin yan. I think the point, and allow me to explain this, please. I think the point to the Department of Agriculture or the Senate Committee on Agriculture calling on Malacanang to declare a state of emergency is so that anything and everything can be done. Kasi nangyari po yan doon sa Kokolisap. If you recall, a few years ago, we had this infestation of parasites or bugs that were eating all our coconut trees in the Philippines and killing the industry. And, people were fighting kasi people are saying, you know, if we declare this, it's going to affect our exports. If we don't do this, we can't use chemicals. Or if we don't do that, we can't, you know, kanya-kanya pong vested interest. So in the end, what Senator, I was in that Senate hearing, by the way, Senator Cynthia Villar actually asked, what can be done? And we said, mag-declare na po tayo ng state of emergency. And she actually went to Malacanang to Noynoy Aquino, President Benigno Noynoy Aquino, and said, Mr. President, in the absence of a specific solution, in the absence of something, we must do everything. So they declared. And everything was done to fight the Kokolisap. But, you know, God is better than all of us combined. He just sent Typhoon Glenda. Ayun, naubos lahat yung Kokolisap. No one can manufacture a typhoon. But let's go now to our first interview. Let's speak with Rosendo So, President Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura or SINAG. Sendong, good morning once again.
Yeah, morning. Good morning po.
Okay, Rosendo, what's the situation? Kasi eto, no, yung Senate Committee on Agriculture, Cynthia Villar, has called on Malacanang to say, declare a state of emergency regarding African swine fever. Tapos, ang balita ko, i-extend naman itong price cap o yung price control, price ceiling sa halaga ng baboy at ng manok. What's your response or what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, first, Manong Cito, yung sa state of calamities, maganda yun. At least, yung ano kasi, yung pondo minsan na puputol kung ito is magawing state of calamities, at least yung pondo sa tingin ko hindi na mapuputol to prevent yung ASF no doon sa ground. Pero mas importante sana yung borders control natin from other countries. Dapat yun ang bantayan kasi yung mga dumadating up to now hindi pa rin chin-check Ibig sabihin walang testing, no? So, maski nagte-test tayo dito sa local, dito sa mga field ng buhay na baboy or anything, pero yung imported na dumadating, we are not testing it. Yun ang malaking problema natin.
Who is responsible for that, Kasendong? Kasi ilang beses na rin kita na-interview. Nung una parang hindi ko akala ko baka parang pahapyaw mo lang na sinasabi. But you have been consistent in that as your opening statement. You always say that we need to test imported pork or imported meats. Who is supposed to do that? Is there a law? Is there a government policy and is there a government agency who's supposed to do that?
DA, no? Kasi in the hearing, nabanggit din natin and the Congress said that nasa batas na yan yung Food Safety Act. Dapat gawin ng itong quarantine is under DA. Pagbukas ng mga kargamento, kukuha lang ng sample to test, no? Per container, isang sample lang naman para ito ba is contaminated with ASF? Ito ba contaminated kung sa chicken bird flu, no? At least or ito ba contaminated with COVID? At least malaman natin, no? Or may salmonella ba itong mga produkto na ito? Para at least yung safeguard ng ating mga consumer and of course yung mga nag-aalaga rito sa local magkakaroon ng kumpiyansa na magtuloy na mag-alaga. Yun ang sinasabi natin.
Kasendong, sa tagal mong naging presidente, miyembro ng SINAG, you have been an advocate for agriculture. Meron bang pwesto sa mga ports, Pantalan, airport, kung saan mandatory? Kasi alam ko sa customs, meron sila yung mga X-ray at saka inspection lane. Dadaan doon yung mga container, ini-X-ray, yung iba wala nang X-ray, yung green lane, etc. Pero when it comes to this meat imports, meron bang designated lane area or kung maisip lang doon lang gagawin o kaya kung minura lang sila sa dyaryo o ng politiko doon maghahanap lang ng pwesto doon sa paradahan?
Yes, sa ngayon wala pa, no? Ibig sabihin pag nag-complain tayo, ginagawa nila yan, in-inspect for few days siguro. After that, wala na naman. Pero sa batas kasi nakalagay, pag dumating ang shipment, dapat maunang quarantine to see to it that this food is safe for us. So, ang ginagawa ngayon is, pagdating ng kargamento, nandyan ang quarantine, nandyan ang BOC, bubuksan, tapos isasara ulit, isisilyo, labas na dun sa port of entry.
Wait a minute, Kasendong. Walang quarantine area. Kasi alam mo, pag sinabi natin quarantine, hindi ibig sabihin na binaba mo yung container doon sa barko, hinila ng truck papunta doon sa paradahan at nagbukas ka. Hindi quarantine yon. Ang quarantine is a specific secured area where people go in suits, etc., testing. Kumbaga nandoon yung laboratory, nandoon yung testing facility at hindi pwedeng umalis yung container na yon hanggat hindi lumalabas ang resulta ng mga produkto.
Yeah, wala. Manong Cito. Ang nangyari is, noong December 2019, nag-allocate si Presidente ng 240 million. And sinabi ng DA, may pondo na sila noong January dahil hiningi yata nila is 2 billion for 6 port. Pero initially, nagbigay si Pangulo ng 2019 ng 240 million. Sad to say, up to now, hindi pa na ilalagay itong mga facility na ito.
So, lumalabas, may pera na, and that facility should be, I suppose, in South Harbor ba? Saan ba dapat unang itayo yan? Saan unang laging pumapasok itong mga imported meat products na ito?
MICP, dito sa may North Harbor.
North Harbor, MICP. Pero hindi ba pribado yun? Private port yun eh.
Yeah. Parang mag-allocate yata ng area. Ang sinabi sa amin, based on the last hearing yesterday, yung area is mag-allocate yata yung MYCP para at least advantages naman dun sa port na yan kasi doon na lang ibababa lahat na container, di ba? So at least yung business niya lalaki naman kung doon ibababa lahat.
Ayun. Okay, now, ang tanong ko sa'yo, kasi naman, correct that you are pushing for the testing. That's for public safety and for the protection of our agricultural products and industry. Pero ang tanong ko, nakakita na ba kayo ng actual testing nitong mga products na ito, and how long does it take for the test procedure? Kasi baka naman katulad yan ng COVID noong 2020 na abutin ka ng 1 linggo o 2 linggo. Ngayon, medyo 2 oras daw, talo-talo na. But how long does it usually take?
Yeah, kaya, no? Kaya dun sa based on yung ng SGS, sabi nila, within 1 day time, kayang ilabas yan. Pero because of yung siguro yung volume na pumapasok, umaabot sila ng 2 days, no? Pero kung ang DA may sariling facility na gano'n, I think mabilis lang yan, no? Kasi yung testing dati sinabi sa amin 6 hours time kaya nang lumabas yung resulta.
Okay, matanong ko lang, you mentioned volume. Pasensya ka na, Kasendong, no? We just want to educate the public to understand. Kasi during the shortage, the DA was declaring that they are meeting 400,000 hogs requirement of the Philippines or Luzon or 40,000, hindi ko na matandaan eh. Ilan ba yung baboy na kailangan sa Metro Manila araw-araw o sa Luzon na katayin compared sa ilan bang baboy, katumbas ng baboy, how many pigs, equivalent pigs are imported on a daily basis?
Yeah, ang consumption kasi based on PSA is 14.6 kilos sa 1 year per person. No? So yun ang computation nila sa 365 days. So kung yung population ng Metro Manila is 12 million, ita-times mo na yun. So yun ang daily consumption. So around 700,000 kilos ang kailangan sa Metro Manila. Yun ang computation natin.
Per year?
Per day.
Per day? 700,000 kilos per day?
Yeah.
Okay, ilan naman ang pumapasok? Imported?
Ang imported kasi ang estimate natin is 13 containers times 24,000 kilos sa isang araw, mga 312. Yun ang estimate natin,
312,000 a day?
Yeah.
Di lumalabas halos kalahati ng requirement, ini-import na yan.
Sa Metro Manila lang yan, Manila lang.
Oo.
So yun ang pwedeng i-supply ng imported. Kasi sa other places nagsusupply rin naman ng imported. So hindi lang Metro Manila ang sinusupplyan nila.
Okay, another thing that you always call for or push for, laging sinasabi mo dapat ipatupad, is that the duties and taxes imposed on all of these imported products should be given to the hog raisers and poultry raisers. Nabawasan ba o nadagdagan ba yung buwis at napupunta ba yan sa mga kasapi sa agrikultura? But before you answer that, let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we return, pakisagot lang po yun, Kasendo. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Signal TV channels 8 and 250. And for those of you watching via Facebook.com/OneNewsPH, please share us with your friends so that they can also get a front seat on what's happening in various sectors in the Philippines. Okay, let's get back to Mr. Rosendo So, President of SINAG. Kasendong, you have always asked, lagi mong hinihingi yan, taasan ang buwis sa mga imported meat products and give those taxes or collections to the farmers or hog raisers. What is the situation?
Yeah, I think yesterday, Senator Cynthia Villar agreed, no, to place the fund to create a fund to give the budget to the hog sector. Kaya magandang batas na gagawin yon. At least yung makokolekta na tariff, it will go to the fund and matutulungan yung ating local industry. Kasi ngayon yung nakokolekta na pondo pupunta sa National Treasury and ginagamit as general fund. Pero kung ito is mabibigay ito sa mga livestock, no? Ibig sabihin baboy, manok, and baka. So malaking bagay ito. And I think those senators that attend the Senate hearing agree na dapat mag-create ng tarification law para at least mapunta dun sa pondo ng livestock.
Okay, so pero anong nangyari? What happened to the current tax or duties levied on imported meat products? Kasi I know that the Department of Agriculture was pushing for a lower tariff and a higher volume of allowed imported meat products.
Yeah, Manang Cito, yesterday, no, tiningnan natin yung imported meat na prime cut. Yung prime cut, ibig sabihin yung Baileys, no? Yung dumadating, ang puunan lang ng imported is 82.72 at average. Average price ang puunan nila. Kung i-levy ito ng 40% na 32 pesos, umabot lang siya ng 114 pesos. So
mababa pa sa farm gate price.
Mas mababa pa. And kung ibebenta ito ng pag ipapatong ito ng sabihin natin marked up ng importer is 30 pesos, no? Ang retailer 20%, dapat ito ay binebenta lang sa 185. Pero ang bentahan nila is 300 pesos. So ang laking kita, no?
Walang kaibahan, walang distinction between imported, frozen sa fresh cut.
Oo. So ang sinasabi natin, bakit pa ibababa yung taripa? Kung ngayon yung mga imported is kumikita na. Ang sabi ng iba, ang ibang source kasi mahal $3 Oh, pero kinompute natin yung iba naman sa Brazil, for example, $170 lang. So pwede naman sila bumili dun sa mas mura. Yun ang sinasabi natin. And ang inaano natin is bakit mo pa ibaba yung tariff kung tutuusin? Ngayon pa lang, kung talagang gustong ibaba ng importer, pwede lang ibenta ng 185. Bakit binebenta nila ng 300? No? Kasi sa 185, kumikita na sila, no, ng almost 40 pesos per kilo. Yun ang inaano natin. And the retailer, 20% ang kikita na nila. And ito is kaya mag-appeal kami kay Presidente, papakita natin yung computation para malaman, no. Senator Cynthia Villar ang magdadala ng letter kasi hindi natin ma-reach ang Presidente. Ang mga cabinet lang kung anong ipasok ng cabinet, yun ang sinusundan ng Presidente. Pero kung ang si Senator Cynthia Villar may dala yung message natin, I think baka mag-change ng mind ng ating presidente.
Okay, what about yung itong declaration of a state of emergency concerning African swine fever? Anong magiging effect nito in terms of pricing? Kasi base dito sa na pull out ko na report dito provided by the agenda team, the price ceiling on pork products will continue to remain at 270 per kilo para sa pork shoulder, at 300 kilo for pork belly, and 160 for chicken. Kumbaga, kasi yun yung sistema natin, 60 days pag nag-declare sila, good for 60 days. Eh pag lumabas na ba yung state of emergency pronouncement, magbabago ba ang presyo ng baboy, manok, etc.?
Ma'am Cito, sa ngayon kasi yung deliver ng DA, up to now hindi pa binibigay yung subsidy, no? Yung 21 pesos na sinasabi nila. So ang nangyayari, majority of the time in the week kung pumunta ka sa palengke, Sunday ako pumunta ako sa palengke, nakapili ako ng karne 350 pesos, no? Yung prime. So ibig sabihin, majority hindi sumusunod dun sa price ceiling na sineset ng DA dahil malulugi sila based on 210 na live weight, no? So dapat kasi based on 210 na live weight, ang minimum na presyo is 330. So ang nakikita natin, siguro sa dyaryo lang or sa press na lumalabas, ito yung presyo natin, pero yung actual, kung walang delivery, walang ganun na presyo dun sa market.
Correct. Okay, Kasendong, etong mga pinag-uusapan, kasi medyo maraming napakamot ng ulo at maraming nagsabing, sinabi ko na sa inyo kasi noong sinabi nilang magpo-pull out sila ng baboy from Mindanao, from Visayas para ipadala sa Metro Manila, ang reaction ng mga iba ay sabi, mumura sa Metro Manila, magmumura naman yung mga tiga Visayas at Mindanao kasi tataas naman doon ang presyo ng bilihin. And true enough, it has caused a rise in inflation. Mismong PSA, mismong NEDA ang nagsabi na dahil dito sa shortage na ito, nagkaroon tayo ng inflation. Ito ba nakabuti sa samahan sa agrikultura o nakasama?
Yeah, yung suggestion natin ito last year pa, kasi kulang talagang Luzon. May surplus ang Visaya, Mindanao to bring the live pig here in Luzon, in which continuous naman yung parating. Pero ang nangyari lang sa Metro Manila, instead of magdi-deliver yung mga biyahero dyan sa Metro Manila, natatakot sila kasi may price ceiling. So pupunta yun sa ibang lugar na mas mataas ang presyo na walang price ceiling. So kaya kung tingnan mo yung ng PSA, is yung other places mataas ang presyo, dito sa Luzon, ang Metro Manila nauubusan ng stocks, no? Pero kung wala yung support ng DA, yung 21 pesos, up to now hindi pa pala nabayaran na yung 21 pesos, no? So
welcome welcome to the club. Kasi kaming mga namatayan ng baboy, na pinapatay yung mga baboy dahil may ASF daw, ako yung baboy ko napatay noong December 31, 2020. Ngayon po ay March na, 2021. Nasa Department of Budget daw yung papel. Ewan ko, sabi, yung 2 linggo, naging 3 buwan. Welcome to the club.
Parang 6 months yun bago makuha. 6 na buwan.
Di, 6 na buwan ko rin silang babatikusin kasi ako naman, nangako sila Sabi sa akin, if you submit the papers within 2 weeks, it will be out. Going on 3 months na po, Secretary Dar. Puro yung mga bata mo, nagbibitaw kasi. If they didn't promise, I won't comment. But as you pointed out, yung pala, kawawa pala yung mga magbababoy na nawalan ng negosyo. Maghihintay 6 months.
6 months. And yung mga nag-alaga na ng 20 heads down, kung nag-alaga ka ng more than that, hindi ka rin bibigyan. Yun ang isang problema. So,
May utang na loob pa ako ngayon.
Oh.
Anyway, Kasendong, wag mo pa initin ulo ko. At ako pag uminit ulo ko, wala nang katapusan. Anyway, tututukan natin to and we hope that the situation improves. Thank you for the inputs that you shared from the Senate hearings, from the Committee on Agriculture. And sana po, madala ni Senator Cynthia Villar yung mga daing nyo, mga recommendations ninyo at ng mga magbababoy magmamanok sa Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte kasi hindi naman po tayo pwedeng kumain ng simento at bakal kung puro bill. Kailangan kumain tayo ng baboy, gulay at isda. Thank you, Kasendong.
Thank you, Manong Cito. Magandang umaga.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Rosendo So of the Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura or SINAG. And naku po, kasi si Kasendong pinaalala pa sa akin yung mga unpaid subsidies, unpaid indemnification. Alam niyo po, yung tinatawag na indemnification fund do sa mga maliliit na magbababoy, yung mga backyard hog raisers katulad ko, ayun po ay dahil mandatory papapatay lahat ng mga baboy mo pag may ASF. Hindi po yun tulong, hindi po yun abuloy. It is not a dole out. It is because they are implementing government policy and public protection. They are causing harm to your livelihood, so they're indemnifying you. Yanin mo pa yung damo kung patay na yung kabayo. Okay, let's go to our next guest, a regular of agenda, Dr. Beaver Tamesis, President of PHAP or the Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Association of the Philippines. Dr. Beaver, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me.
Naaliw ka na naman, ano? Nakita mong uminit ulo ko, no?
Listening with great interest.
Okay. Well, Dr. Beaver, the reason we invited you to the program, and I shared this with the team agenda, I said that I would like to give the PHAP or your association the opportunity to clarify certain matters because I heard it said at least once, if not twice last week. Some people postulating or assuming that the reason for the delay, global delay and difficulty of supplying vaccines is because the pharmaceutical companies are controlling everything and trying to make sure they make the most money out of it. Sabi ko parang, paano nangyari yun? Could you begin to clarify that matter or respond to that accusation, Dr. Tamesis?
Thank you very much for the chance to respond, right, Cito? Our industry, we're in the business of saving lives. We're in the business of making life better, particularly when you have crises like these or unmet medical needs. So really, ang hinabol natin during this period of pandemic, how quickly can we produce a vaccine that will protect humanity? And because of that, at this point in time, we already have at least 3 approved vaccines globally: Moderna, Pfizer, the AstraZeneca, some other vaccine companies already in some different parts of the world, na being delivered at cost. I mean, example pa naman nakikita ng bakuna na 400, $4 to $5 a shot, all right? Na bago. And we're not talking about an old vaccine that's, say, for measles that can be had for really cheap prices at less than $1. This is totally new technology. I mean, we had to move the process. We had to realign all our resources para lang ma-produce itong bakuna in the shortest possible time.
Mm.
So really, the issue now is not that we're trying to price gouge, right? Na nagmo-monopoly tayo. Hindi. Maraming competitors na ngayon. We have at least 3 competitors already. The
Mm.
issue here is production ability. Kasi ang hirap gumawa ng bakuna, because you have to grow the vaccine in vats. You're not even sure kung yung vat na yan, yung tanke na yan, may yield after the period of growing. Even
Mhm.
for established vaccines na sanay kami gumawa every day, may
Yeah.
mga batches na zero na lumalabas na bakuna. All right? So it's that inconsistent. The vaccine manufacturing process is extremely difficult. It can
Mhm.
be very erratic. And then we have to now try to find other facilities. I think Serum Institute of India, which is commonly mentioned, is actually signing up contracts with many of manufacturers to produce vaccines for them. Kasi
Mhm.
hindi kaya capacity. Which is another thing that just happened recently, where the U.S. government, through President Biden, was able to broker a deal between Johnson and Johnson and my own company, Merck and Company, in the U.S.
Mhm.
for Merck and Company to actually help manufacture. Para lang dumami yung manufacturing capacity. So the issue is not that we're hoarding. Plainly and simply, the issue is we cannot make enough.
Mhm.
Sa dami ng demand. We're trying to make billions and billions of doses in as short as much as possible time, in a process that can be very, very difficult. It's not as simple as mixing ingredient A with ingredient B, mix, then put it in an oven. Hindi. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
Okay,
Uh,
Dr. Beaver, if you don't mind, no, I don't want to put you in the spot. You can decline if you are not an authority on the matter or you're not well versed in the matter. But could you just give us a short view of what the process is like? Because I never realized, and I'm sure a lot of people were surprised that you can have a 10 different calderos, so to speak, or vats hopefully producing all the same type of vaccine. And then you mentioned that one vat may be bad, the other vat may have no yield, while 8 vats may have good yield. Ano ba yung process? How long does the production of one batch usually take?
Well, I'm not an expert, right? I mean, like, I
Mhm.
don't do this every day. But when we visited their factories, that was something that they kept highlighting when we did the factory tour a couple of years ago. Pinakita sa amin yung process. I mean, like, all the movement of product or the ingredients or the uh, mixtures from room A to room B to room C.
Mm.
And finally to this particular gigantic vat where yung pala, walang lumabas. So we actually had several episodes in a couple of years ago where some of our vaccines na stock out simply because hindi lumabas yung the yield was negative or zero.
Mhm.
So I don't have all of the details. For that, we really need to speak with the manufacturing person. But
Yeah.
that was a very huge eye opener for me, even
Mhm.
ourselves, to see actually that even an established vaccine can be zero. So you can
Mhm.
now try to imagine scaling all of this up to produce billions of doses with many, many different manufacturers. So the issue now is getting together with somebody who has the vaccine versus somebody who has the manufacturing capacity, put them together so that maayos na natin sana yung delivery ng vaccine as soon as we can. So yes, it's a very complex process. I don't have all of the
Yeah.
details, but
Okay.
I was shocked and I was amazed myself at the complexity of how to actually do this.
Okay, now one of the most recent revelations, admissions, or basically heads up, we're just telling you what the truth is of government, is that they're not in a position to influence or speed things up. Kumbaga, nasa pila daw sila and they have to wait for whoever is going to deliver the vaccines to them. What is the global situation? Ano bang nangyari in terms of getting vaccines? Because, and I have to confess, I think most of us presume mistakenly na, oh, once the vaccine's available, everybody can order. Para ka lang nag-Shopee, para ka lang nag-Lazada, darating na yan. But now we're realizing, teka, why are we talking about 2022? Why are we talking about this month for this group, etc.? what's the situation globally, and how can the Philippines influence or get a better position of getting more vaccines?
Well, globally, the straight answer is there's not enough supply.
Mm.
There is really not enough supply. You have Pfizer and Moderna trying to ramp up their productions, at least for the US. So now they're deep in talks with the American government, and apparently naka-guarantee na sila a certain dose. AstraZeneca is still having trouble with fulfilling their own European Union requirements. I mean, like, it's all over the press, right? I mean, like, they're talking about how the EU is pressuring AstraZeneca. Tuloy, the EU is being accused of having vaccine nationalism, right?
Mm.
So parang hoarding, protecting your own. I saw reports about blocking exports from Italy, where the manufacturing plant is, going to Australia, because Australia, what's the price? Parang wala naman daw epidemic transmission. Yung sa atin, again, I was reading press reports. Our WHO representative was saying that actually we were able to jump the queue already simply because our transmission rate jumped up like crazy.
Mm.
Our reproduction numbers at 1.66 when previously it was as low as zero 0.8.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, like, these are scary numbers, right? And then our positivity rate approaching 10%. That used to be below 5 already. So I think there is global recognition of where the hotspots are in the world. It's unfortunate that we are such a hotspot, but being a hotspot allows us to get at least na-allocatean tayo ng vaccine mas maaga.
Mm-hmm.
So that's at least from the COVAX facility, because COVAX was really designed for that. Get the crisis damped down, try to get 20% of your needs, nationwide needs, so that you can now try to control the epidemic, particularly for those who are highly vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
prevent them from catching the illness and succumbing to complications. And then after that, after you get that first 20%, syempre, you have to negotiate for the rest of the 80 or whatever target number of population that you plan to vaccinate.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think we obviously, I mean, we've heard all the stories, we've seen all the press reports about Ambassador Romualdez, Secretary Locsin railing about
Mm-hmm.
people dropping the ball, right? So
Yeah.
I'll leave that to them, because obviously I don't have any influence anymore there.
So,
But yeah, we should have been moving faster.
I mean, that's an interesting point you're raising. So instead of talking about inoculation for the entire population, talking about vaccines will be delivered, we should simply come up with a schedule of priorities, and which is what the World Health Organization has already suggested, if not imposed, na first the health workers, and then the senior citizens, and then those who are at risk, etc., down the line. Kumbaga, kasi mahirap naman magsabing mangako ng pakyawan, wala ka namang madideliver. So, 20% muna for the time being.
So the first 20%, that's what the COVAX is promised to deliver. Particularly since we've signed up for that COVAX facility. So that was last year pa yan, it's August, September timeframe. They were already talking about the COVAX and the requirements. If you're going to sign up, you have to fulfill certain things. So they've been talking about that since mid-year last year pa. Now, in terms of priorities, I mean, like, my Facebook is filled with colleagues, right? My friends in the medical community.
Yeah.
About may bakunan pinapakita na nila that they're actively receiving vaccines already. And it's looking like there is prioritization, particularly in the medical community. Lalo ng mga frontliners, be it nurses, be it doktor, silang inuuna, because sila yung they're the ones dealing with the patients as they actually come in, and well, they're actually confined in the hospital. So they must be protected first.
Okay, you mentioned something, Dr. Tamesis, that got my curiosity, because you said in Europe, the EU and everyone else, they're basically, they have their own issues with AstraZeneca, etc. And sabi, hoy, kami muna. And in America, it's Johnson and Johnson and Merck and Company and Pfizer na, hello, you guys prioritize the United States. And now that leaves us in Asia. And in Asia, I'm sorry, but we're talking China. Are you would it be presumptuous to say na, well, let's forget about all those other brands, China na ang pinakamalapit? But before you answer that, Dr. Tamesis, we'll go for a quick break. When we return, can you please answer whether or not realistically dapat dito na lang muna kami sa China? We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, we're back here on Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and with me this part of the program is Dr. Beaver Tamesis, head of the PHAP. Okay, Dr. Tamesis, Europe has AstraZeneca, America has Johnson Johnson, Merck and Company, Pfizer, and then Russia has Sputnik. China has COVID, ano ba? Sinopharm, etc. Asians will simply have to go with China on this thing?
No, no, no. I think that's let's call a spade a spade. Let's be fair, naman. The Americans and the British actually donated so far. That are the two leading donors into COVAX.
Mm.
So they've been donating tons of vaccines, and $2 billion worth na ba yata yung US donation. And then si AstraZeneca, the UK pala is second. They used to be number one, and then suddenly Joe Biden came in, President Biden, and suddenly nauna yung US over that of the UK. So yes, countries are actively donating naman and contributing to the COVAX and to the global effort. To say that they are focused lang on their countries is medyo ano naman. I think what we just need to do is be aware that syempre may scarcity. We have to look for potential other sources. And to be honest, there should be nothing wrong with getting a Russian vaccine. Their data is pretty damn solid. It's really good data, all right? The issue that maybe we have here in Asia is transparency. Where is the data? Is it published? Is it peer-reviewed? Na talaga people dug into the details, looked at what happened at 30 days, looked at what happened in 2 months after the second dose, where patients did we prevent severe illness, which can potentially kill people, right? These are the metrics that people are looking for. The safety profile, as you roll out the vaccine from the initial clinical trials into millions of people, you want to see what's happening, right? That's the missing part. We have not seen credible scientific data. All we're hearing are press releases. And I'm sorry, press release is not equal to a scientific paper. Just because the CEO of Sinovac says it's, I know that doesn't make it the truth, right? You still study it yourself. And
okay, sorry, Doc Weaver, no, but I don't know how to say it, but I'm gonna call it the way it comes to me. We have vaccinated at least 500,000 Filipinos with Sinovac.
We have about 600,000 doses that came in, right?
Yeah, 600,000. Pwera pa yung mga donation, pwera pa yung sa PSG, etc. So at least 500,000 or 600,000. How long before we find out if we were just guinea pigs or we were actually recipients of benevolence? Ika nga, no? Kasi I think that's the question on many people's mind nowadays. How many days before we find out?
Hindi na tayo nauna as guinea pigs, right? Brazilian study. Turkey had studies. And there's another country that actually also published data. All right? Pero pache. There's no integrated, so we're not necessarily the only guinea pig, in quotation marks. There
Hindi,
were other countries
no,
ahead.
no, big population.
Yeah, yeah,
Kasi
yeah.
yung ibang countries, 30,000 here, 20,000 there. Pero dito, 600,000 na ang the last delivery.
Well, 600,000 targeting about 300,000 people, right?
Mm.
But there's a clinical trial, a substantial clinical trial in vaccines enrolls approximately 10 to 15,000 up to 20,000. The
Okay.
clinical trials to date for all these corona vaccines average 40,000. So these are huge numbers in the vaccine world when we do clinical trials. So
Okay.
marami ng numbers, marami ng pasyente or volunteers who went through the trials. Just publish the data, please.
Well, we've no we have no control over that. Pero ako kasi ang
Maybe
concern.
the FDA, right? To be honest, the FDA got to see all of this data. So, which is
Okay.
why, in their wisdom, based on what they saw, they said, okay, ito lang ang pwede.
Mm.
That's why they put all these limitations, because that's based on the data that they saw.
Okay, but just to wrap things up, how long does it take for us, the public, to realize, ay, okay naman pala yung Sinovac eh. Hindi problema. Kasi some people, I'm sure, are having sleepless night wondering if they did they made the right decision.
The absence of data, the absence of proof doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
shared. Hindi lang na-share.
Mm.
Right? So some people have chosen to take that leap of faith and say, sige, bahala na si Batman and go for it.
Mm.
But I am seeing quite a number of my younger colleagues accepting the Sinovac vaccine simply because pasok naman sila sa criteria.
Yeah.
Pumasok sila sa criteria that the FDA said na pwede and what efficacious. So I'm not saying that walang efficacy yung mga yan. In all likelihood, meron. Just prove it, for gosh sakes. Come on,
Yeah.
show us data.
No, but Dr. Beaver, Dr. Beaver, I'm asking you as a doctor now, okay? How long is the wait para masabing, okay, walang problema. Kasi, alam mo, may pasulpot-sulpot na, oy, merong nangate, oy, may hinimatay, but, people are saying, go ahead.
With vaccines, the beauty with vaccines is more often than not, you will see the side effects within 30 to 60 days.
Okay. Okay.
Especially after the last dose. It's a acute injection kasi binigyan mo, you see the immediate impact within the first 24, 48 hours, meron ka ng potentially nararamdaman. And then the usual protocol is that we monitor for side effects for a minimum of 30 days, usually up to 60 days after. So people who entered the studies very early on, phase 1, phase 2, those guys already have more than, syempre, 6 months data, 6 month, 8-month data na yan. And again, all of this data gets rolled up, gets submitted to the authorities para mabantayan na kung meron ba talagang mga side effects na lumalabas. It's not like a pill, right, that you take forever, say, for blood pressure or for your diabetes or for your cholesterol. The side effects may come out decades later because you've been taking the drug continuously. That's why these other pills continues ang monitoring. But the vaccine world is much shorter yung duration of monitoring simply because you see the immediate impact of the potential side effects. Lumalabas usually within the first 30 to 60 days. Now, there is the rare side effect that comes up decades later, but that's very, very rare. It's like 1 in several million before makita uli yung side effect na yan.
Okay, well, hopefully yung side effect ay magsasalita ka na ng Mandarin o nakakaintindi ka na ng Pekingese. Okay, we'll go for okay, thank you very much for your time, Dr. Beaver, and stay healthy, stay safe, and nice talking to you again.
Nice talking to you too.
Okay, that's Dr. Beaver Tamesis, President of the PHAF, or Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Association of the Philippines. Okay, medyo sinecheck ko lang ito. Meron pala tayong netizen report. But yun po, no? The intent, the line of my questioning, parang abogado, no, Congress, was to find out is many of our friends are wondering, gaano ba katagal, bago magkaalaman? How long does it take for us to really breathe a sigh of relief, or be able to say, hey, it works, it's great, no side effects. And according to Dr. Tamesis, 30 to 60 days. So there you go. Now let's go for the Netizen Report here on Agenda.
Two sides of netizens waved their flags regarding the controversial Run Sara Run posters flocking roads and streets. Mark Jane sees this move as a form of premature campaigning. He marks these ads as a clear violation. On the other hand, Mayor Sara gained support from netizen Reynaldo Sagarino, who says that the country needs the Duterte brand of leadership. Last week, we also asked you, should employees be required to have vaccine shots? Chris Ian Navardes believes it's a win-win situation. He believes that getting the shots will protect the employees and the company. Rinaldo Jeff Batersal could not hide his confusion. He asked, first of all, where are the vaccines for the public? But netizen Reincarnacion raises a valid point. If they want to get inoculated, workers must first give their consent. Plus, it's better if they can also choose their vaccine brand.
Okay, that's the Netizen Report, reporting all of your responses or opinion. Thank you very much for joining us. And as I said in the beginning of the program, please make sure that you express your gratitude to the Lord God Almighty for all of the blessings and benefits and gifts He has given you, whether in talent, in material good, or in relationships, because that pleases Him when we honor Him. Have a good and godly day, and see you again tomorrow here on Agenda.